Give me a second. I don't know why it's unplugged. Give me a second, everybody. Let me see. Huh. I don't know why it's not connecting. Alright, give me a second, everybody. All right, there we go. Audio should be working now. All right, Blue Cubes. Sorry, man. I had a quick question. So I just got the V80. Cool board. The numpad was not included. So I'm really frustrated right now with this because again, I got this with the intention for the class 100 because like this is the keycaps that I wanted to use. So I'm gonna send an email to KB Paradise and get this sorted out. So. You guys get to watch me send an email for the first couple of minutes. I want to go to KB Paradise because yeah, I'm kind of frustrated with that. It could have been an accident, but Blue Cubes, yeah, I got the box. So like literally, I got the V80 box, and the only extras that were included were this cable, and then I guess these extra switches, which is like cool. Yeah, so I looked in the box, so I'm definitely going to reach out to them because part of why I got this was for the keycaps. Like, I wouldn't have ordered it otherwise. And again, I'm looking at my packaging, and there's literally nothing else. So, yeah, I'm going to message, yeah, so I'm on KB Paradise's website right now, so I'm going to email them right now. Because, again, like I said, I got, this is the set I want to use in the Class 100. I want to put Dolce on it. And I'm basically going to swap all the red accents for tactile white on black. But yeah, I wanted to use Dolce. So, I mean, I have like half the set, but I need the numpad. So I'm emailing KB Paradise right now. So let me get my, so give me a second, folks. We're going to send a polite email out to the folks at KB Paradise. Because yeah, we want to take care of this right now. Because yeah, that's kind of frustrating. I mean, it was probably a genuine accident. I mean, also like, the worst they could tell me is like, hey, we didn't include the kit. I mean, we don't have the numpad kit, so I want to see KB Paradise. So, okay. So yeah, we're gonna definitely shoot them an email really quick. But yeah, I'm really kind of frustrated with that. Also, what's up, Fade? So let me just go to a second. So let me look up KB. Let's go to PayPal. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot him an email. All right. So yeah, I'm just messaging KB Paradise again. They're over in Taiwan. So yeah, give me a minute. I want to look on the KB Paradise website again really quick. Sorry about that. Because I want to see... Okay, V80 Alps. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, this one's really cool. But yeah, like I said, Alps Sim keyboard. Here we go. I want to just check, so... Yeah, it should include my, should include the keycaps. So that's really weird. Yeah, so. Alright, almost there. Alright. I just sent the KB Paradise people an email, so hopefully that gets all sorted out. Sorry, you got to watch me send a freaking email, everybody. So, yeah, we'll get that all sorted out. What's up, Nat? So, yeah, this is cool. I mean, this is a board we'll probably end up giving away. You're not getting the keycaps. I literally bought this board for the keycaps, but I need to see what the folks at KB Paradise said, because I bought this. I wanted this keycap set, and this keycap set is really, really hard to find. And the only way I could get it was by getting this keyboard. And kind of, I know people who have purchased this keyboard before, and the numpad is included when that is ordered. So I'm really kind of frustrated right now, but hey, I'll wait for them to kind of send me an email back. But this is a really sick keycap set. It's Red Dolch, which is super sick. So, but yeah, the board itself is cool. But yeah, we'll definitely put this. This will definitely be given away, but with different keycaps in the future. So, yeah. Ooh, it pings. So, all right, I'll put that away, everybody. Let's get to the start of the show and kind of show y'all why we're really here. So, this is a board that's kind of I've had for months at this point. I've had this board probably for like 4 or 5 months. This is the Sensy Seal Full-Size. So, I joined this group buy in late 2024. I think like November 2024 is when I purchased this board on group buy. What's up, Parrot? And then the group buy, the Vertex went through, Vertex kind of hosted Sensy, and I know Vertex went through kind of a lot of internal struggles throughout 2025, and there were a lot of delays on this board, and they were finally delivered, I think like late Q3, early Q4 of 2025. So I've had this board for a while. This has been a long time coming. Like, I've been waiting to build this board for well over a year at this point. So I've had the board, and it's been sitting in my keyboard display, because part of the reason this project has taken so long is because of how you can build the board. So the one thing that's cool about this project, the Sensy guys are massive vintage keyboard enthusiasts, and way bigger than me. Like, they into old IBM stuff, Alps, you name it. So the Seals PCB has the holes for both Cherry MX and Alps. So as soon as I found that out, and really when I started exploring Alps, I knew this was a board I wanted to build with Alps. So that's something that's really, really cool. So I got the black colorway. We have the brass top badge. We also have the brass back weight. But we're basically going to be doing a blackout build today. So we are going to be building it with Alps, and we're going to be building it with these black, these are called Pine Black Tactile Alps. So these are an earlier variant of black tactile Alps. Alps switches kind of have some Alps switches have two variants. You have earlier versions, which we call pine switches, and you have later variants called bamboo switches. The pine versions of a switch are usually the more desirable one. So when it comes to black Alps, the ones that people say are a superior version when you're talking about black Alps are going to be the earlier pine Black Alps. So these pine Black Alps are actually in a Northgate Omni-Key. One of my Northgate Omni-Key 102s. I actually tore that board down the other evening because I wanted to use these switches in this board. That Northgate Omni-Key is going to be getting a different, it's going to get Salmon Alps. So we have all of these switches have been fully restored. They've been ultrasonic cleaned. They also have been lubed with 205G0. So these switches are freaking awesome. And also too, part of what took this project so long is getting a plate designed. So my guy who designs my plates, which is Careless, Careless is really busy. He doesn't do the keyboard stuff as his day job. He does it when he has time. So when I got the board, part of what made it take so long is like Careless was really busy. He's been really busy as of late. So it was really hard coordinating with Careless when he had time to develop this plate. So this plate was designed by Careless, and then once I got that plate fella from Careless, then again I had the plate cut and made by Tom over at Hype Keyboards up in Canada. So really cool project. I'm really excited for this one. Also, the Sensy guys, I've become really good friends and I've connected with the Sensy team. Their upcoming group buy, which is the Seal 80. That board is absolutely insane. It's going to be a TKL version of this board, but it's really not a Cherry MX board. Like I'm one of the people who's going to be reviewing the Seal 80 as part of the group buy. I'm doing my partnership's going to be with Divinity, which is going to be really awesome. Now, and I've seen the reviewers, like Alex Odos is going to be building a Seal 80 this weekend, but a lot of the big streamers and content creators within the space are going to be reviewing the Seal 80. But they're all building it with just Cherry MX. I am going to be the only creator who's going to build it with Alps and also Space Invaders. So the purpose of the Seal 80 project was to showcase vintage switches in a modern keyboard. Yes, most people purchasing it are going to be building it with Cherry MX. But that's not the intention of the Seal 80. If you look at the interest check on GeekHack of the Seal 80, a metric boatload of switches are supported. You have Cherry MX, you have Alps, you have SMK, you have Space Invaders, you have Omron switches, you have Topra, and a couple other switch types. The purpose of this board is to support a bunch of other switch types other than Cherry MX. Now, for the purposes of most of the big reviewers, they are going to be, most of them, again, all of them are going to be building Cherry MX. Again, and I mean that is no disrespect to like Alex Odos, Captain Sterling, like the big guys in the space. But I was talking with the Sensy guys and I said like, hey, are those people building with Alps or like Space Invaders? They said, no, you're the only one. So that's one thing that's going to be really special. So please spread the word. The initial stream we do with the Seal 80, we're going to be building it with Alps. When they send me my review unit, they're going to be also sending the Space Invaders kit. So Blue Keeps, I'll probably be messaging you because I got to source Space Invaders for the Seal 80 review. So yeah, if you definitely have a cheap, good clicky SMK board, Space Invader board, please let me know because we got to source some Space Invaders for that portion as well. Yeah, so that's something that's going to be really cool. So I'm of the people reviewing the Seal 80, which is going to be coming on Group Buy very soon, and a lot of the big reviewers are going to be getting their units. I'm the only one who's going to be building it with vintage switches, and we already have the custom plate for Alps on hand. Careless designed that plate. And again, the Seal 80 guys are, in addition to my kit, I'll get the Cherry MX and Alps PCB, the case, and then I'll also get the PCB and plate for Space Invaders, which is going to be super sick. So yeah, Blue Keeps, you can maybe just like, if you find any like cheap boards that have clickies, let me know for Space Invaders. But yeah, folks, let's take this board apart because we got to get to the plate first because we have to modify the plate because I'll kind of explain what keycaps we're utilizing today for this particular board. But yeah, I'm really excited. The Sensy guys are awesome. I've gotten to know the Sensy guys pretty well, and they've been awesome. And when they kind of pitch, like they've seen a lot of my Alps content and a lot of the vintage builds I've been posting, and they really like my work. And initially, I asked them like, hey, like, would you guys be open to me like showcasing like one of your keyboards? Like I said, like, hey, I'll do it for free. Like, I don't even want to keep the board. Like, I just want to, like, you guys are vintage enthusiasts. And again, I know most of the reviewers you are going to send it to are not going to build them with Alps or any type of vintage switch because that's not their audience. And so the Sensy guys said, like, hey, we'll think about it. We'll get back to you and kind of see how many review units we can spare. And a couple months goes by, and then the Sensy guys get back to me and they say like, hey, like, we kind of talked it over. We kind of looked over numbers and see, like, we have a unit that we can send to you. It's going to come to you via Divinity. So I'm Los Angeles based, and Divinity is actually really close to me. Like, the Divinity warehouse is probably 10 or 15 minutes from where I live in LA. So, like, they're literally, like, my backyard. So, like, I drive by their warehouse, like, all the time. And I know Carl, the owner, over at Divinity. So, my contact at Sensy essentially said, yeah, we ran it by Carl. And so we're going to send the unit to the Divinity guys, and you can either go drive and pick it up at their warehouse, or they'll just mail it to you, which is going to be really cool. So I'm really excited to when we get that. I requested the green unit, which is going to be really, really sick. And for transparency for that review, they are allowing me to keep the unit. So I made it very clear when I started my conversation with the Sensy guy. The Sensy guy is that, like, hey, like, I'm not doing this to get a free keyboard out of you. I'm doing it because I believe in the project, and at the time I planned to purchase the board with my own money, and I just wanted to support the project, especially a project that is being an Alps build first, and Alps are kind of my thing now. Like, I wanted to support the project because not many people are building a board that is specifically designed for Alps and, like, modern switches. So that's just something I'll make very clear when we do the stream and the review and the content for that board. Like, hey, this is a true sponsored stream. Like, I'm getting to keep the board, but, like, Sensy is not going to influence my opinion of the board. So that's something I'll make very clear. Like, hey, I'm still going to give you, if there's any feedback or things I think that could be fixed for, like, the final production run, like, I'll definitely make that known and let Sensy know of any ideas. But with this board today, the seal right here, I did pay for this with my own money, so this is not sponsored by Sensy. But I've been sitting on this board for so freaking long. I want to get it done. So here we go, folks. So also, I'll tell you a modification I had to do to this board, and just since I've had it so long. So the top mount screws are M3 screws, and they were actually I had to get different screws for the top mount. So the actual factory screws that came with this board were actually too long because Alps plates are slightly thinner than Cherry Mex. Cherry Mex is designed for 1.5 millimeter plates, and Alps plates are 1.2 millimeters thick. So the screws I had that originally came with the board, when I put this plate in, those screws were designed to have a 1.5 millimeter plate. So I had to sort. So if you're gonna build this board with Alps and you get a proper 1.2 millimeter plate, you're going to need slightly shorter M3 screws for the top mount. So just be aware of that. If you do build this board with Alps, you are going to need, because again, what you're going to do is, again, the factory screws are going to be too long and the plate's going to rattle within the case. So that's just a kind of a thing to be aware of with this particular board. So what Alps am I putting in the Seal 80? So I'm getting a green unit. I am a big fan of color coordination. So we're going to be putting green linear Alps inside the Seal 80 when we get it. Now, with regards to build, so we're going to do 2 streams when we do the Seal 80. We're going to do the first stream we're going to do is going to be with green linear Alps. And I'm thinking of putting my Silicon Graphics 9500, 900 keycaps on that, just to kind of showcase. Those keycaps live on my F18X. So I'll pull those keycaps off my F18X and we'll get that board. Again, we'll use those keycaps for the showcase of that board. And then for Space Invaders, we're going to be building it with clicky Space Invaders. I'm a big, when it comes to vintage switches, I love clicky. Like, for example, I love Blue Alps. That's probably my all-time favorite switch. Back here, I have the Model F. So, freaking love the Model F. We're doing a lot of IBM stuff. We got the Model F back here. We have the Battleship, the Battle Cruiser. I'll show the Battleship. We built I got this put together this week. I didn't do it on stream because this board was too much of a pain in the ass to do on stream. Like, I'm still not fully comfortable with IBM stuff, but we built the proper Battleship. This thing is together. This is a Model M Battleship, not an F Battleship. Oh, sweet Blue Keeps, thank you. Yeah, so, yeah, we got the Battleship together. I wanted to have the Battleship on my desk, but it takes up an ungodly amount of space, and especially with stream and all the crap I have to have on my desk for, like, soldering and whatnot. There's just no way. So, but yeah, this is also, we'll kind of showcase some of the interesting things about this board, too. I only know a couple of people of a couple people who actually built this board with Alps. I know one person in Careless's server a while back built this board with Alps. But again, my build, I've just been sitting on it because I've had other projects and other interests, and also life is just kind of busy. So like I haven't been, the one thing I've learned with Alps, it is a lesson in patience. I build my Alps, I take my time and I build them when I have the time, and I also take my time. And some Alps builds could take several months to do, like this one. So I'm in no rush to build it, but this is really kind of cool. So yeah, the top mount's really kind of cool how they do it. So they have these plastic inserts that this top mount screws screw into. So that kind of helps bring down the ping and whatnot. We also have this badge. This could be a switch, but I like the brass badge to stay there, which is really cool. And we also have some indicator lights too, which will be really nice. So really, really stoked and hyped about this board to finally get this board together. I've been waiting well over a year to build this keyboard. One thing that's really kind of cool about this board is the plate is in 2 pieces, which is really interesting. And that also translates into our PCB. So our PCB is actually in 2 pieces. So we're actually going to separate the PCB, which I think is really interesting. Most of the custom full sizes that I built, and even my vintage ones, the PCBs are one massive PCB, which I always think is really interesting, like the DNWorks 925 or the Matrix Labs 100NG, or like my Vertex S100. So that's something that is really, really cool. So we're going to break these off really quick, and then we'll kind of take a look at the PCB and how that connects. So we're just going to break these tabs off and kind of go from there. There we go. So and we're just going to break these tabs off. I literally have not touched this really. The board has literally just been on display, and this PCB has been in storage waiting to be built. So okay, so let's pull this off. Cool, awesome. Let's toss that to the side, and then let's pull these tabs off right here. Oh, cool, blue cubes. Yeah, I'm mainly interested in clicky, and I don't care about the color. I literally just want some clicky space emitters that are just really clean and not too expensive, because I will be sourcing those myself. So I'll have to desolder those and then get those ready for the Seal 80. So, but yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, the Steel 80 is going to be a really sick project. And again, I'm really humbled and grateful for the opportunity that the Sensy guys are giving me to be one of the creators. Pretty much of their list of creators, the only one who's going to be building the board as it's meant to be built, which is Alps and Space Invaders and vintage switches. Let's carefully, there we go. Gotta be careful when we break that. And let's get these tabs off of here. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the opportunity with the Sensy guys, and they also have a keyboard that they're working on. So once the Seal 80 is fulfilled later this year, the Sensy guys are working on another TKL called the Separation. And what's cool about that board is it's gonna be again a board that's built for Alps, and it's gonna natively support Apple extended keyboard keycaps, which is gonna be really sick. Because those keycaps are really cool, but really weird because of the F-row. So I have a bare PCB for an Apple extended keyboard. So like Apple extended keyboards are awesome, but like the part that sucks is the F-row. The F-row, they're rotated 90 degrees, and the stems are like ridiculously long. So that makes building them quite awkward. So most of the time when you see builds with them in modern keyboards, they just do like a 60%, or you have to find like an F-rowless full size. So that's going to be really cool. So I'll just put that back up there. Cool. All right. So yeah, we have 2 PCBs here, which is really kind of cool. And the question is, how do they connect? So how these boards are going to connect is there's a ribbon cable that's going to join both PCB. Once we have them mounted on the board, there's a little ribbon cable that's going to connect both PCBs, allowing the board to function correctly, which is going to be super sick. So yeah, that is really cool. That's a really interesting implementation of this. I think that is awesome. Cool. And they also have LEDs right here, so I think we might solder in some LEDs. So as well, I do have a bunch of LEDs from my God, what's the board? From my diversity. So we'll solder in some LEDs for the indicator lights too. So we'll kind of figure out what color. We're gonna do either red or green because that's true to Alps. I'm thinking most likely green. But we're gonna kind of focus on the plates right now because we need to break off a tab. So let me talk about keycaps. So we're going DCS keycaps. So to kind of fit with the black theme of Black Alps and a black case, we're going with DCS Reaper. So I'm just going to pull out one of the keycaps here. And we're going to, again, it's a black on black text, which is really kind of cool. So it's kind of a gray on black. It's a really kind of stealthy look. So one thing that's cool about DCS is it uses Cherry MX stabilizer. So we're going to be using some Type Plus stabilizers. We're going a proper full size, so we're going to have 8 stabilizers we got to lube up. But before we do that, part of Careless's plate design is he has something called variable plates. So what that means is with the stabilizer. So these plates either support Alps pattern plate mount stabilizers or Cherry MX stabilizers. If you just use Alps plate mount, you use no modification. But if you want to use Cherry MX stabilizers for DCS keycaps, you need to permanently modify the stabilizer. So there's these little tabs right here. So we're gonna have to bend those out, and then we're gonna have to do some filing on the plate for all 8 of our stabilizers. So this is gonna take a good long while, everybody. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do for right now. So we gotta get these ones going. So let's get my chair going. So yeah, this is gonna take a minute. But yeah, that's what we got to do here is pull these out. So yeah, we just got to do these. Yeah, so this is gonna be a fun time. But yeah, we got to get these. It is a fun time. Yeah, we're just pulling these tabs off. Okay. Yeah, we're just pulling these aluminum tabs, so that's always a fun time. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll do some filing to get those all cleaned up. So, yeah. Good times. But yeah, we gotta do 4 on this one. We don't have to do anything on the space bar, which is nice. So, yeah, so this is the part of the board that definitely is hand fitted. Cool. So we're coming along. Give me a second. Cool. Cool. We got that one. We got 3 more on this one, and we got 3 more on the numpad area. So this is part of the build. It's going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but it kind of takes time. So yeah, so let's just kind of pull these off. So yeah, good times. Guys are pulling off. All right, give me a second. All right, gotta pull this one off. Second. Cool. Almost there. Got one more set of tabs, and then we'll move on to our numpad. Actually, we'll file this one down and move on to our numpad. So this is just kind of the part that is a little tedious, and does take a little. This is probably the part of the build that's going to take the most time, because once we get to our soldering, it's pretty easy. So we're just pulling off these parts here. Cool. Let's get this one. that one's good. Let's pull off these, and then we'll start filing. So, yeah, we are doing a little bit of hand fitting for this board, so that's fun. So. Give me a second, folks. What's up? What's up? Alright, sorry about that, friends. Something I had to take care of with my dog, so. Yeah, we gotta be really careful because the metal is like really thin at the bottom of this plate. So, just gotta be careful. Cool. Alright, we're getting there, folks. We are getting there. So, awesome. So we have two more. We got to shear off, and then we can start filing. So, yeah, it's a little, very fragile, very delicate, but we got it. Cool. So that one. And once we do this, we can start filing down. Filing is going to be fun on the numpad because it's so thin here, so we got to be careful. So, all right, almost there, friends. Got a couple more tabs we got to click off, and then we'll be. Gonna work. Last one. Cool. Give me a second. Cool. All right, let's start the fun process of filing now. All right, cool. That one. Alright, we are making progress, friends. So yeah, we are just filing these tab points down where they once were so the stabilizers can fit. Cool. So we are making it in. So coming along on the number pad. I'm doing this one first because this one's a little bit more fragile. Cool. Let's do this side. Making some good progress. So coming along. And then a couple more tabs here. And then, we'll be ready to go through. Yeah, when people say Alps are a lot of work, this is why. So, you would never have to do this on a Cherry MX build, filing stuff down like this. I like the challenge. Okay, one more tab here, and then we'll be good. Cool. All right, this one is filed down. So now you can see we have proper openings for our Cherry MX stabs on our numpad. And then we'll move over to our, of course, our main assembly here. And we're gonna do our kind of core cluster now. So we got 3 we gotta do here. Because there's no stuff we have to file down in our space bar and our right shift. So that's nice. That one's done. Cool. We are making progress, folks. Done. Let's do here. Okay, 2 more. Ah, crap. There's a couple tabs I didn't pull out here. Oops. Oh. Alright, let's pull those out first. Damn it. It's all good. That's why we do this on stream, folks. So. Okay, let's pull these tabs out. One more. All right. Cool. All right. That should be it. Now we're ready to start filing. Yeah, this is definitely the component of hand fitting for sure. I'm getting all these filings, so it's good times. Do it right here. Last side. Cool. All right, I think we are ready for moving on to stabilizers. So that's kind of the hard part. Now we can move on to kind of like the fun part of this. So there we go. So let's move on to our stabs. So let me figure out which boxes I'm using today. Not that one. That one. Okay, we'll utilize this one today. So we're going 7U. So let me get my parts out. And we'll kind of go from there. So we need a total of 8 stabs today. So Type Plus have definitely been growing on me, at least for Cherry MX stabs. Let me wipe my hands off. I have all these filings on me. Yeah, so it's been good. Getting those out. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. We also need wires. Let's go to this one. So we're gonna need a total of 6 of the, actually 7 of these. That's 4, that's 5, 6, and 7. Start pulling up all these Type Plus stabs. So these are going to be absolutely lovely in this board. So yeah, Type Plus definitely been growing on me for like when I have to do a DCS build or just personal Cherry MX builds. So got 6. We're good to stab 7. We got a metric truckload of these. We got a lube. And one more. And then we'll get that 7U wire out. And we'll go from there. Man, look at that. Let's get that 7U wire. There we go. Cool. See how we're doing? We got a lot we got to lube today, so good times. Yeah, we're using dielectric grease. That's kind of my preferred for Cherry MX. So definitely my go-to for sure. Just mix all this up again. There we go. All right. Cool. Awesome. Got some dielectric grease. And now we're going to get the show going. So, all right, we got a metric truckload of these. We got to lube up. So let's get them going, folks. Actually, we'll do our space bar first. So, yeah, we're lubing these up. And we're also going to add some indicator LEDs to this, which will be nice. And it's nice the indicator LEDs aren't attached to a switch, so that's really good. So, that's always nice. So yeah, this is going to be a cool board, folks. We have a bunch. I'll tell you this, folks, just to be transparent. My project backlog is like eternal. Life's been really busy, and there's a lot going on, and I don't have as much time as I thought for like different Alps projects. So I kind of work on stuff when I can. We're not streaming as much as I would like either, especially since we got that affiliate status about a month ago. But yeah, but we're still here. I'm not going anywhere. It's just a little bit slower progress because there's just a lot of good things going on in life, and definitely definitely do this for fun. So Yeah, that's just kind of where we've been lately. So, alright, so we're getting this wire in here. Let's make it too crazy. Okay, we're gonna. So, yeah, definitely love Type Plus though, for sure. They're one of my go-tos for stabs. Like, if I have to recommend a cherry mix stabilizer, it's gonna be really cool. Also, just fun things that's also gonna be coming up. I'd say within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna do some Topera builds. I got Dynacap R2, went back in stock today. I've been waiting for Dynacap R2 forever. I didn't purchase Dynacap R1 when it launched because I knew there would be some issues. Clever and his team did their best to try and avoid having issues, but there were just things they couldn't have foreseen. Nothing like breaking of the product or making it useless, but it took them some time to work out those kinks, and they finally restocked today. So I got 3 Dynacap kits today for my personal collection. So I have 2 HHKB boards that I've also had for a good long time that are waiting on rebuilds, which are going to be really good. And then also 2, we have my Agar Mini, which I have the plate file for, so I need to get the plate made. So I need to send that over to Tom over at Hype. And we'll also be building the Agar Mini sometime in the near future with Dynacap, which is going to be super sick. So a lot of really good things in terms of some Topera coming up, and we also have some client Topera coming up. I have a client who also is waiting for the Dynacap R2 restock, so they picked up a Dynacap kit, and they're going to be sending a board over to me as well. So we're going to also be doing some Topera stuff in the near future, which is going to be really nice. So Topera is really cool, and then also we have some vintage boards coming in. So my IBM stuff that I've restored, I haven't done on stream because it's just, I'm still kind of learning the world of old IBM keyboards, and I think I'm finally comfortable enough to like build IBM stuff on stream. So we have an original, so I have 2 Model M's. I have the Battle Cruiser and I have the Battleship, which are awesome, but I don't have an original Model M, which is like probably the single most important keyboard ever created. To be, especially the last like 40 or 50 years. Like, we still use the Model M's layout all these decades later. So it's very significant. And I've been hunting for but for the Model M, I didn't want one of the later ones. I want like a first generation Model M with the silver badge. And fortunately, some people think that those should go for like absurd amounts of money. And I was kind of being patient looking online, and I found one on eBay last week that was not insanely priced. So I picked it up, and it's going to be coming, and we're going to do a bolt mod. We're going to do a full restoration on it. I got to assess the condition of it. We're going to do all of the work on it off screen, because the IBM stuff takes a lot of work. And we'll kind of, on that stream, we'll kind of go into why they take forever. But they're really cool. I think I'm finally comfortable enough with the IBM stuff, so we'll when that one is ready, we'll do the final assembly of that one on stream, and we'll definitely do kind of a history deep dive into IBM keyboards, because IBM has a really cool history. And like I said, I have 2 IBM boards proudly sitting on my wall right here, and then I have the Battleship. I don't really have a place to display the Battleship. It's just so gigantic. Like, calling this board small right here, this lower board right here, this is a Battle Cruiser. It's slightly smaller. It's still gigantic, but it's nowhere near as big as like the standard IBM Battleship. I did some pictures today, and people were freaking loving it. So yeah, the IBM Battleship, definitely, I think one of my favorite keyboards I own now. It's by far the biggest keyboard. It dwarfs pretty much everything else I have. Like, even the OmniKeys, which are also gigantic keyboards in their own right. Like, it just dwarfs even the OmniKeys, which is just kind of crazy to me. So yeah, the IBM Battleship is definitely the king of keyboards, at least in my collection. It's especially in terms of size. And it's cool because my Battleship was manufactured in 1987, so it's going to be almost 40 years old, and the work I did to my Battleship, it's going to be good for another 40 years, which is just friggin' awesome to kind of think about. So it's a really cool board, and again, I'd been sitting on the Battleship for a while. The initial Battleship I purchased, that's tragically, when I got it, the top case and the bottom case were like completely cracked and destroyed in shipping, and that really sucked. So then I had to track down another Battleship I had to use so I could harvest the outer casing for. and tracked that one down. And it's just been sitting in my closet for like 2 months because I had other projects and other things I was doing, and I had the Battle Cruiser already rebuilt, so I wasn't in a rush to build it. So this week I just said, screw it, I'll finally get around to doing the battleship, and I did it pretty much off camera. It took a lot of work. We tore it apart, we bolt modded it, because the point of weakness on just the Model M family of keyboards, essentially what they do, you have a membrane in the middle, which is, that's what the keycaps, like the switches, interact with to send signals, and you have a back steel plate, and you have a plastic barrel plate. That's all kind of sandwiched together and held together with plastic rivets. The plastic rivets on Model M's are kind of the point of failure on Model M's, and especially over the decades as the plastic becomes more brittle, those plastic rivets break down and break off. And if enough of those break off the back of the keyboard assembly, then you're not going to have proper signal registration. So Welvin, so here's the thing. MM Studio, if you go on their Discord, they were doing so the projects they're doing this year, they just did the Class 100. MM Studio only does one project at a time. So they'll run a group buy, they'll do all the manufacturing, the quality control, and then ship off those to the various vendors, and the various vendors then distribute those keyboards to the clients who purchased them. After the Class 100 is fulfilled, which we should probably have Class 100s, I'd say May, June, they should start getting delivered to people who purchase them. They're going to be doing the Class 0413 R2. I have an R1 0413, and that was a lot of people didn't really purchase it. It was a very small run. They only did about 200 of them. Awesome board. I have mine built with Topore. Awesome board. Like, that's what they're going to run in the second half of this year. After the 0413, they were actually doing a contest on their Discord. They were asking people to submit photographs and a brief description of vintage keyboards they would like to see MM Studio recreate. And it was a kind of a contest, and I think they're going to be closing the contest pretty soon. I'm in second place, which is really cool. But the winning design will be selected, and the design that had the most votes is an IBM Model F battleship. And the Model F battleship is based on the Model F switch design, but the Model M battleship that I have is externally the same keyboard. It's just their internals are different. But essentially, MM Studio is most likely going to be creating a battleship, which is going to be super, super sick. So I'm really excited. That most likely will be their project after the 0413 R2, but that's probably not going to be till probably the first half of 2027. So that's just something to be aware of. They are working on it, but they have to fulfill the Class 100 and finish manufacturing those, delivering those, and then they're going to run the Class 0413 R2. And then after that, which would probably put us into early 2027, then they'll do something else. The Class 100 is including Alps support. And honestly, I don't know why MM Studio didn't include Alps support on their PCBs prior to this. But it's really cool. The Class 100, they're adding Alps support to the solder PCB. So again, I originally was going to build my Class 100 with Cherry MX, but when they announced Alps support, they said oh, that's really fantastic. So I've been building with Alps, and that's why I got this freaking keyboard right here, because I want to put Dolce on it, and because I was going to put GMK Dolce originally, and I'm kind of salty they didn't send me my number pad. So hopefully KV Paradise gives me my number pad kit, because I really want to put Alps Dolce on my freaking Class 100, because tracking down Tactile Dolce is kind of a pain in the butt right now. So yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a really sick board. Again, I love MM Studio. They're probably one of my favorite modern keyboard design studios. I have three going on 4 of their keyboards. I have the Class 80, I have the Class 0413 both built with Topore. And I also have their Class 65, which is built with Cherry MX. And of course, I have the Class 100, which I plan to build with Alps. And what's cool, the design contest submission, I am actually in second place. So the first place winner would actually receive a free custom colorway unit of the board they're doing. So whoever submitted the IBM Model F battleship, they're going to get a free battleship in whatever color they want, which I think is really cool. And in second place, which most likely what I'm going to get in that contest is you get a free keyboard from MM Studio. And my question is MM Studio, I pretty much have all of your boards. Can you just send, if you build the battleship, I'm going to tell them if you guys build the battleship, can you just give me a battleship, please? because I would love an MM Studio battleship, because like the 0413 was like 10 pounds. The Class 100 is about 10 pounds as well. So like if they do a proper like full aluminum and brass battleship, like that thing's gonna weigh a buttload. So like it's gonna be really sick if they actually go with the battleship idea from the design contest. Because like honestly, there's I don't think anyone's really done a proper battleship. I know we had the 21XX Unsaver, which is like cool. The IBM Unsaver is like a ridiculously rare and expensive keyboard. But like if I'm where you're gonna go battleship, I want the freaking numpad. Give me the if you're gonna go that freaking gigantic, it's not that much more to put on the numpad. Give us the full ensemble. So like that's why like the 21XX, yeah, it's cool. The Unsaver is awesome, but I want the full sized freaking keyboard. So so MM Studio will hopefully be running a battleship. That's just, and again, they haven't confirmed that they're going to run the battleship, but if you go into their Discord and you look at the design contest for kind of their next project after the 0413 R2, the most voted submission right now is a Model F battleship. So if they honor their word, and that they should be doing like the R&D and like the design work on developing a full metal battleship, which would be so freaking sick. So, because also too, like my Model M battleship, it's heavy, but like I know the Model F battleship weighs over 10 pounds. Because it's mostly steel. The only steel on my Model M battleship is the backplate of the PC of the membrane assembly. But yeah, it's a really sick board, and it's just ungodly big. I freaking love it. Like I love big old keyboards, and they're awesome. And we need more big keyboards in like the modern space of mechanical keyboards for sure. So, but yeah, it's gonna be really sick. So like I'm really excited for just MM Studios projects. Like they're probably one of my favorite studios. Like I own multiples of their keyboards for a reason. And like in my like personal keyboard collection, I did sell off quite a few things that I was just kind of hoarding and holding on to. Like I got rid of like a lot of like my hype boards and like the boards I got for clout. Like in 2025, I definitely chased a lot of keyboards for the wrong reasons. Like I wanted to own like all those iconic boards that like make you like a cool person within the hobby. And I just kind of realized going into 2026, it's like, I don't use those keyboards. Yeah, they're cool. And when I go to meets or I post them online, it's cool to like 3 other people on the internet. But like, I'm not in this, I want to like pursue things in this hobby that are genuinely cool to me. So like, I definitely downsized my modern keyboards and like a lot of my Cherry MX boards. Like I got rid of the Kohaku, the GLA Evolve, like the TGR 910, and a few other boards. Again, they're cool and I'm glad I owned them. But there's way cooler things I want. And I would rather explore. Especially with like vintage stuff or like Alps or other like cool like Cherry MX boards that genuinely interest me. So that's just, so yeah, we definitely have a lot less. I got rid probably like, I'd say a dozen or so Cherry MX boards. And I got rid of a bunch of GMK keycap sets because again, like outside of like Topra, I'm not really building new keyboards that use Cherry MX. I'm mostly going to be building Alps stuff and like vintage boards or like converting modern boards to Alps. Like my Topra, I got rid of a lot of GMK. I was just kind of hoarding. Like made some good money off of it too, but like I just realized like where the niche I found in the hobby very much is with the vintage stuff with Alps. I kind of made a name for myself in the hobby, like doing Alp stuff and like doing vintage stuff. Like heck, I've even got to help like the attention of the vintage go-to guy himself from YouTube, which is Shiro-san, which I've had some awesome conversations with him about vintage stuff and getting advice and whatnot, and he's definitely like really liked the stuff I've been doing. So I think it's really cool. So like I've definitely found my niche, and my niche in this hobby is not Cherry MX. It is definitely like Alps and like vintage stuff. And I also want to show people like, hey, like there's so much more to this hobby than just Cherry MX. I mean, also too, like, I mean, I'd say the second most popular Switch right now would probably be Topra or Hall Effect. I mean, especially with like the Dynacap project, like making Topra more accessible, and people like Sip and Clever and like the guys over at OmniType, I think like Topra electrocapacitive keyboards are more accessible than ever. So like, I also encourage people like get a Topra keyboard, explore Topra. It's really an amazing, like just kind of tech. Also explore Hall Effect. Hall Effect is really cool. I always get a trip telling people like Hall Effect is very old technology. It is not new in keyboards. Like its implementation right now is relatively new, But like Hall effect is from like the 70s, so it's that's a very old technology that's kind of found a resurgence in keyboards, which is really cool. So I always tell people like there's much more than just Cherry Max. And Cherry Max isn't bad. Cherry stuff's awesome. Freaking love Cherry, but like there's a lot more. Also too, buckling spring. Get into, like I tell people, get into IBM stuff. Like, get a Model M. Like a Model M is freaking awesome. Or if you don't want like a vintage one, like go get a Unicomp. You can get a Unicomp for like $100. Or if you shop around on Facebook Marketplace, you can get a Unicomp for like next to nothing. So I just tell people like there's so much you can do in this hobby. Oh, that's not Cherry Max, but also that's not that expensive. Like again, like vintage Alps keyboards, like if you go for like some of the more common ones like Dell AT101s or like Apple extended keyboards, you can get those for like less than $50, and you can clean it. They make fun restoration projects for like a weekend, and they're you can learn a lot, and you can learn some cool history, and you can have a cool Alps board for less than $50. So there's a lot of ways to like enjoy the hobby outside of Cherry Max without spending like ungodly amounts of money. Now, vintage Alps and like Topra is where the hobby gets genuinely expensive. Like I tell people, like, yeah, you think Cherry Max is expensive? Trust me, once you get into like high-end Topra, like custom Topra, high-end custom Alps, ooh, yeah, this hobby gets absurdly expensive. So, but yeah, but like if you're just doing like entry-level stuff, like it's pretty easy not to spend a lot of money. So, yeah, once we get these stabs in, we get them screwed in, we should be pretty good to go. We'll get those in, and we'll also get the indicator LEDs, because I'm noticing how the plate's set up. We're probably going to do those indicator LEDs first. So, but yeah, it's a good time, folks. So, yeah. But yeah, we haven't been streaming as much, but we're definitely going to try and stream more. It's just, again, life's been busy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, yeah, we stream when we can. Cool. But yeah, we're having fun. So, a couple more stabs, we'll get lubed up, and then we'll start getting them mounted. So, yeah, so we are getting there, folks. So this is like the time-consuming part of the build, getting the plate ready for Cherry Mix stabs. So, but yeah, this is a really good one. Yeah, a new battleship would be really cool. And again, I've seen some other like keyboard designers in the space working on battleships. There's a couple designers that I know who have prototypes that they've made, like one-off prototypes, just kind of they've made as like a proof of concept. I don't want to name the designers because, again, I don't want people bugging them, but like they're essentially what I've heard. The two designers I've talked to have made like prototype modern metal battleships. They said they just made them as a proof of concept, and there's just a lot of like logistical and manufacturing things that they're still kind of working, and those projects shouldn't be released for a good while. But again, I'm really excited for the opportunity to like potentially have a proper modern battleship, which would be so sick. And I think I think the perfect one to do it would be Studio. Like their one. Like, it would be really sick if they did it. And I'm surprised they haven't done a battleship. I know they were kind of going through the main form factors of keyboards. And it's nice that they finally did a full-size with the Class 100. But, yeah, considering they love big, giant keyboards, I'm shocked it's taken in this... They haven't done a battleship yet. But, yeah, that's going to be a super, super sick project if they do it. Again, the Studio guys haven't confirmed it, but just based on the design contest they have in their Discord server, the battleship is the most voted on submission. So, so hopefully they do it. So one more stab, folks, and then we can start screwing these puppies in. So making good time. But yeah, these are really cool. this should be a good one. Cool. Alright, let's get this wire lubed up. And then we should be good to start screwing these puppies in. Cool. Cool. All right. Got those in there. Just lube off my hands. And then let's get our hardware out and we'll start screwing these in. So let me see. Okay, let's get a bunch. We need like 16. Cool. All right, we'll start off with this one. Do our main assembly here. Get our 7U. And we're going a full complement of stabilizers on this one. No kind of weird layouts or anything like that. Cool. And then this one. Cool. All right. The smaller one. Let's do our little numpad area first. Yeah, these tight plus stabs definitely are growing. Have grown on me and become my like preferred one. Yeah, once we get these in, we'll solder in the LEDs. I think we're gonna go green because I think green is kind of that classic. It's kind of that classic color. Hey, like Blue Cubes, what do you think? Blue or green? I have blue, green, or red LEDs. Like, since this is an Alps build, like, what? I don't think blue. Something either red or green. I don't know. Anyone has any preferences on what LEDs we should put for our indicator lights? Like, I'm leaning towards green or red, so we'll kind of see. So we're going. This is gonna be a black on black build, so we'll kind of see. But I know red and green were like original LEDs used for indicator lights on like original Alps boards. So, I don't have amber. I just have red and green. I don't have amber. I just have red, green, and blue. So those are the LEDs I have on hand. So, okay, well, I have 3 indicator lights. So we'll kind of see, like, what do we want to do. I mean, I can do one of each, which would be kind of cool, but I think I want to keep it uniform. Because they're right here on the PCB. There are 3 LEDs that'll go there, and they'll shine through the top of the case when those particular, like, scroll lock, caps lock, and num lock are pressed. So I'm just kind of thinking of which colors I want to do. I'm leaning towards green, but red would look kind of sick on a all blacked out build like this. So we'll kind of see. So, yeah, I think honestly I'm gonna do green, like, cause most of the vintage Alps boards I've done have green LEDs, and I think I'm just gonna keep it simple like that. So, think that's what we're gonna do. So I'll get those, once we get these screwed in, we'll get the LEDs out and we'll solder those in. Yeah. And we'll just do a test fit of everything. Okay, one more screw, and then all of our stabs will be mounted. All right, there you go. So there are our stabs in there. So let's just I'm gonna put my screws, my washers away. Okay. Put those away. Yeah, there we go. So we'll put our plates on just to do a test fit, make sure I filed everything down correctly. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, you can see the cutouts right there for the LEDs. So I definitely, if I put the LEDs in, I'd want to have them soldered in before I solder all the stuff, the switches and whatnot in. But yeah, that's gonna look sick. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the switches in this assembly first, and we'll work on this assembly first. So yeah, we'll put these ones in. These are black linear tactile Alps. So let me just get some of these switches in here. There we go. I'm just gonna get some corners in here, just so we can kind of hold it down. Hold it. Being weird. Why aren't these coming through? There we go. Always fun doing that. And we're going wing keyless, so I'll put the... Oh my god, these are gonna look so sick. Yeah, there we go. Alright, while we're at it, we're gonna do a test fit of these. Alright. I do want to do a test fit of my stabilized caps really quick. So let me just put my perimeter one. We're going standard ANSI. Again, this DCS Ripper, I normally put big ass enters on my boards, but they don't. This one does not, this set does not support a big ass enter. So, and also these switches have been in a board previously. So if there are any faulty switches, we'll desolder them as needed. But we should be good to go on any faulty switches. Yeah, so we'll work on this assembly first. Where's the JST? Okay, right there. Cool. But yeah, these black Alps look freaking sick. So, I'm going to put one for the spacebar. Yeah, I love it when modern keyboards support Alps. Like having I don't know, if someone's designing a keyboard, I know it's very niche, but if you're offering a solder PCB, it's not much more work to add the holes for Alps support. And then someone can just get the plate design. Someone can kind of design the plate themselves, or like reach out to someone like Careless and they can make it. Like, it's not much more work to have support for Alps. So, and I'm glad like the MM Studio guys, Alps support wasn't initially planned, but then people were asking them on their Discord like, hey, like can you guys add Alps support? And they said, yeah, we'll look into it. And they said, yeah, we're going to do it. I'm like, sweet. So, but yeah, this is going to be a sick blackout build. And I'm really, really stoked about it. So, oh my god, these, I love Black Alps, by the way. Like, they're such a good switch. Oh, these are going to be so awesome. Just making sure all of our pins are going through. We don't want bent pins. So that's never a good thing. But yeah, these are pine Black Alps. So these are kind of the superior version of Black Alps. So if you want Black Alps, realistically, you're going to want pine blacks, which are a little harder to find than like the more common and later bamboo blacks. Which, funny enough, people hate bamboo blacks. I freaking love them. But yeah, look at that. That looks sick. Look at that little black on black assembly right there. That is freaking awesome. All right, I'm just going to put ours, I'm going to do our other assembly here. Just want to make sure we have enough. Give me a second. Make sure I have enough. I had 102 on the other one, so I should have enough. We should have enough pine blacks. Oh yeah, we're gonna have enough. We just need 30. Yeah, we're good. We are good. All right, we're gonna put these to the side. So we're gonna start off with our kind of main assembly here. Before we do that, I do want to test our keycaps because I know DCS is kind of finicky. Dude, I love bamboo blacks. I don't know why they get the hate they do. I personally don't think bamboo blacks deserve the hate. I have them in my AO3 Polaris and it is one of my favorite modern 60% Alps keyboards. Yeah, I'm just testing my stabilizers because historically, sometimes these Cherry Mix tabs can be kind of weird with Alps. So we just want to make sure we're testing. Okay, we're having an issue right there. I'm glad we... That shift is being weird, so we'll definitely take a look at that. Glad we haven't soldered anything yet. Okay, backspace is also being weird. That one's being weird. Okay. All good. Finding my other stabilized caps. Give me a second. There's my enter. Left shift is being weird, so I think we're going to have to put a special stab here. So let me see if I have one over here. Give me a second. Yep, I do. So I've had this issue before with left shift on DCS and careless design plates. So we're going to do a little switcheroo here. I'm going to see how that goes. So let me pull these off. This is why we test stuff. Nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the transition light was such a fun board to build in. I absolutely enjoyed the heck out of that board. And it's a phenomenal little board for what you get. Okay, let me just pull these out. Glad I didn't solder down because I've had this issue before. So this stab is being weird. So I've had this before. So for some reason, Type Plus stabs get really weird to left shift with DCS. And I built the Baron BP1. For the life of me, I could not get a Type Plus stabilizer to work. So what I did is I put a Durox stabilizer, and for some reason I had no issues with that. So maybe the Durox have looser tolerances or something, but we're gonna put a Durox in here, and to kind of match the theme, it's a black Durox, which is nice. So, and that should solve the problem. One of those weird little things. Alright, let's put these back. Alright, let's try this shift again. Alright, let's get this shifter here. Yep, there you go. I don't know what it is with DCS and Careless Design plates. For some reason, it doesn't like Tape Pipe Plus, but I put a Durox in there, frickin' works. So I'm gonna just put my, so I'm gonna take them off. I'm gonna check that backspace again because that backspace is being a little bit sussy. Look at that, it's sticking to it. Backspace. Backspace is sticking. I don't like that. Let's see. Maybe I can fix that. Yeah. Alright, we're going to put a Durox on this Type Plus, on the backspace as well. Again, you're never going to notice it, and they're black on black, so they kind of, they blend in. But that's just a weird thing with Careless Design plates. They don't, for certain points on the board, do not like Careless Design stabs. It's really weird to me, but. Alright, let me find the rest of my Careless stuff. You gotta be shitting me. Put them somewhere. Give me a second. I have so much crap in here. Give me a second. So much crap in my tool drawer. Alright, never mind. I think we're gonna see if we can tune up this stab. I'm gonna swap this stab really quick. So it's just part of the build that is very much hand fitted. Let me take a look at these two stabs right here. So it's just part of the build process. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try this stab really quick. Okay, put that one in. Just want to make sure our stabs are good. Alright. Alright, let's put this plate back on again. What are we doing? We're doing good on time. Glad I didn't solder anything in yet. We really want to make sure these stabs are good because those are kind of critical parts to our build. Cool. Let's just make sure that that backspace is working just right. Okay, I think we're good. All right, I think we're good. All right, we're gonna move this pile of DCS over here, and we're gonna start soldering. So, all right, let's start our soldering process. Let's move our PCB stuff out of the way, and we'll go from there. So, all right, let's get our vent. Let's solder in our main assembly here. All right. Cool. And we'll kind of go from there. Cool. Good. We are warmed up. And we're going. Cool. That corner in. Move it up here. Got one corner in. Cool. Got 4 corners in on this assembly, so we're just going to kind of start working our way around. And do our space bar here. So let's see what after that, which we're going to use to test. Let's do our bottom row right here. Good times. Alright, cool. Got our bottom row. We're going to do our modifier keys. So, it's coming along. Yeah, it looks so freaking good. Okay, this is the vast majority of the soldering on this one. Alright, that one's done. Then we'll just kind of working our way around. You just kind of come around here and do it. Cool. Looking good. Along. Now we're just getting all of our modifier keys done. Okay, got all of our modifiers in our bottom row. We're just gonna do our F row, and that kind of holds everything in place. Along. Yeah, this one's gonna be sick, so. Yeah, I have a bunch of 60% Alps bills. Screw it, let me show them. There's so many. There's that one, there's that one. Yeah. There's that one, there's that one. And there's one more. I got 5 at the moment. I have 2 that are currently in mothball, so I got the JO2 with white clicky Alps, DCS Alpine Winter, custom Cerakote in that one. I have my Hex 3C V2 with FK 2001 keycaps, bamboo white clicky Alps. I have my Frog Mini with salmon Alps in this really sick tie house set. I have my one of my favorites, my Frog Mini Legera with linear green Alps and Macintosh keycaps. Really, really great board. And then I have my favorite of the 60s, my AAO3 Polaris with bamboo black Alps. And this is a mix and match set. So this one has, the alphas are from a Bonwell Pro 8T laptop, and the black keycaps are Tactile white on black. So Polaris uses a Steezy PCB from Apple T. Now the Polaris, to use it, the USB-C port on the Polaris is recessed ever so slightly. So you have to, in order to use it with an Alps PCB, you have to get this kind of USB-C extender and modify the extender so you can get the Polaris to work. This is a sick board. I love my Polaris. My brass weight's starting to patina. There's a little bit of patina right here, so that's really awesome. But probably my favorite. This also was my first modern Alps build that I did last year. So, yeah, AO3 is solid. They are amazing. I mean, ill intent, if you want a really cool board from AO3, that's Alps, look into the Lunar 1 and Lunar 2. Those are rare as hen's teeth, but those boards were built for Alps. And they're super, super sick. They're just super, super rare is the reason I don't have one, because I can't find one. So, but yeah, really sick board. And I also have a GSKT00. It's just waiting to be rebuilt. And I also have a Frog Mini Pisante. It's full brass that needs to be built. Again, my project backlog is eternal. So, all right, friends, we got almost done with our F-row here. So, but yeah, this is going to be a super sick build when it's done. So we're just taking our time, getting everything soldered up. So, alright, cool. Alright, that middle part of the F-row is good. We did the middle row because sometimes the switches kind of bow out. So we just want to make sure we have really good contact. So, make sure we have excellent contact with these. Cool. Nice, dude. Ill intent. I'm glad you gave soldering your first try. It is really not that difficult. Now, I know the one thing I just will say with solder, if you do it, you definitely want to get a solder vent or do it either outside or in a space that's very well ventilated. You don't want to be breathing this crap in. It's really bad for your lungs. But I also know some people are in areas where they can't solder. Say you're in an apartment where things are really, really restrictive. Some people I know some people who live in apartments, they can't solder. The other one too, maybe you live with someone who has respiratory issues and you don't want to negatively affect their health. And I know I have a friend who lives, he lives with his parents. And again, one of his parents has respiratory issues. So he can't solder, just in his parents' house. So that's just something that's really interesting. Yeah, dude, the Kato fan is great. For 40 bucks, saves your lungs and saves you some cancer, which is really nice. So yeah, so I get why some people are apprehensive about soldering. But if you have the right equipment and you have the right area where you can do it, it's really, really not that difficult. So, all right. Yeah, we're almost done. We're making our way through the F row. Once our F row is done, then we'll start doing our numbers and our alphas. And that'll be the majority of the soldering. And the number pad, the arrow, is going to be super simple. We will have to solder in the LEDs before we solder and stuff over in that portion. But we're going to solder these in, and then we'll do a test of the switches and see what we have to desolder on kind of this main cluster of switches. But these switches were in a previous keyboard and didn't have any issues. And these are also later Alps with the shorter white Alps switch plates, which makes them a little less prone to failure. And like I said, I have tested these switches before I put them in the previous keyboard they were in. So I shouldn't have any faulty switches, but we'll see. But yeah, if you're going to do a modern Alps build, my personal recommendation is going to be either a 60% or a TKL. Those are going to be your easiest keyboards to convert. Now, there are some outliers. If you want a 75%, there are a couple 75% keyboards that you can convert to Alps. We have PCBs for them. TGR Tomo, I have a TGR Tomo or the Satisfaction 75. That is a board that had, both of those are 75% boards that you can convert to Alps, which is really cool. Now, in terms of if you want a full-size custom, there's only a handful of options that I know of. So you have the Seal, which is what I'm building right now. You have the Class 100, which is going to be coming out, be delivering in the middle part of this year. Dude, Blue Cubes, the Satisfaction 75, Alec Tardy is the one who made the PCB for that. So he reverse engineered the Cherry MX PCB, and he has he has a few of those PCBs in stock on his website, where you can build you can buy and then convert your Satisfaction 675 to Alps. And Careless designed the plate for that, so you would just have to ask either Alec or Careless for the plate file. So, yeah, and then for full size, you have the Seal, you have the Class 100, and you have the Fossil full size. And then you also have the ETAR 87, which is an F-Rowless full size. So, there are options, but I think your most abundant options are going to be 60% and TKLs. There's a ton of 60% and TKLs you can convert. So, cool. All right, our F-row is done. Now we're going to move on to our numbers. So, let me clean up my soldering tip. So, just going to do one pin at a time here, and then we're going to slowly solder these in. I'll kind of explain why I'm doing one pin at a time. So one thing that's interesting when you solder switches onto boards is sometimes the bottom of the switch won't fully sandwich against the bottom of the PCB. So one really easy way to do that, to kind of fix that, is you just solder in one pin at a time, and then I'll show you what you do to make sure that switch is now fully kind of seated against the bottom of the board. So what you do is you'll just do one pin, and you come back to the solder, you'll heat that solder, you'll refill that solder, and you'll just press against the switch, and that'll eliminate any type of gap between the bottom of the switch and the PCB. Because there's any type of gap in between the switch or the bottom PCB, that can affect sound. And I've gotten boards off Mech Market where the people did really shitty solder jobs, and there was all kinds of horrible gaps on the underside of the switches. So you definitely don't want gaps between your switches. Awesome. Yeah, you definitely want to check if the solder tip is firmly attached. I just have this cheap Yahoo one on Amazon. I need to upgrade to a Hakko soldering iron eventually, but this Yahoo one of like $40 in Amazon has definitely gotten the job done for me, and I've done all my client and personal builds have been done with my little $40 soldering iron. Yeah, we're making good progress on this one. Let's get a little bit more on this one. Nice. We're almost done with our number row, and then move on to our alphas. All right. Cool. Now we're just doing our alphas. Coming along really nicely, actually. So, yeah, looking good. Coming along. We're now in our alphas, which is really nice. Awesome. Let's properly seat these. Cool. Awesome. That one's coming along. Let's get a little more solder lead. Looking good, friends. Awesome. Yeah, once we get this portion of the PCB assembly done, we're going to test these and just verify that all of our switches are good to go. And if there is a faulty switch plate, we'll just desolder that and get that resoldered. But I don't think we should have too many. Alright, looking really good. We're coming along, folks. And again, those Black Alps, ooh, look how stealthy those look. So good. Black Alps, they freaking awesome. Cannot wait. All right, we got our next section through. Let's get these ones going. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know about the JJW derivative. I don't know much about that board. It's one I've never personally owned. If the solder PCB has like these holes, then we can convert it to Alps. We would just have to get a plate made. If not, we would have to have a PCB custom made. I have a guy who can make custom PCBs. His name's Alec Tardy. Like Alec could make a PCB for anything. It's just you gotta be willing. You gotta pay his commission fee for his time and labor, and then once he designs the PCB, then you have to order a minimum of 5 PCBs, which that's not cheap. So, yeah. So because I'm currently having Alec design a PCB for me for a fully custom project. So again, I paid his fee. And then we have to get the PCBs ordered. So, and I have to order 5 of them, even though I only really need 1 of them. Alright, cool. Alright. Well, we're making progress, folks. It's slowly and surely coming along for this one, so. Okay. One more row, and then we'll start testing this one. It depends. So let me show you my Polaris. So, I mean, yes and no. I mean, kind of. It's not, this isn't like a piano, like glossy. Like, this is definitely like a satin finish. But honestly, I don't really notice it. Like, I mean, it mostly sits on my desk or sits in the keyboard display when I'm not using it. So it's not too bad, but it's a great board. I freaking love it. Love the Polaris. Anything AO3 is just solid. Like, any of his designs are just amazing. So, he definitely knows what he's doing with stuff. So, all right, last row, folks. Let's get this one going, and then we'll test them. And then we'll move on to the number pad area, because we have to install some LEDs. Alright, let's just seat these. Cool. Alright, those are seated. Let's just do the second pin on this last row, and then we'll be good. couple more pins here. Cool. All right. That's that main assembly. So let's do a little bit of testing here. Let's take this, remove this plate. So let me grab my, show you how these are connected. So there's this little ribbon cable here that we're going to use to connect them, and I also have a universal JST and daughter board that we're going to connect. Okay, so let's carefully connect these. Give me a second. It's a little... Cool. Let's carefully flip these over. Gotta be careful of that ribbon cable. And then let's plug this in. Alright. Alright, so got that plugged in. Let's double check if it's via or vial. Okay, this is most likely going to be a via board. I mean, a vial board. Let's get her opened up. Ah, for fuck's sake. Okay. Alright, let's go into via and let's just see if stuff registers at least. Okay, it's not good. That's not good. Just disconnect really quick. Let's see something. Okay. Alright, I may have to get the daughter board, the OG daughter board, out of the case, which is going to be freaking delightful. Because I do need to test this. That's just the nature of Alps. So let's take this board apart so you guys can further see how this board is assembled. So let me get my screw bits and let's get this board disassembled and we'll get that daughter board out. So, fully remove the weight. So, and we're just gonna fully disassemble this board. So, again, I do need to test this properly, because that's just how I operate with Alps. You gotta test. So, because I really don't like doing final assembly, because that's just the thing with Alps. When you're dealing with switches this old, you definitely want to test them. Again, I know these switches should be pretty solid, because I have worked with them in a previous keyboard, but we can never be too sure. Okay. Let's grab these ones. Alright, let's put the case over here, and then let's get this brass. Let's get this unified daughter board out of here. So we have fully disassembled this board. Alright. God, this brass weight weighs a ton. Okay, let's put these screws over here. God, there's so many freaking screws in this board, but hey. Alright, let's try this again. Now we have the actual daughter board, not just some knockoff. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. We got lights. Alright, we have life. Okay, let's try this again. What's up? Oh, we have a raid. Hi, friends. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We are building the Seal Full-Size with Alps. So, friends, welcome. I hope we, again, we're doing Alps from Sensy. Hey, again, like I said, I do this for fun. And again, those of you who have tuned in, welcome. We're Finley Design Works. We kind of specialize in Alps and vintage stuff and converting Cherry MX keyboards to other kinds of switches. So, welcome, friends. We are doing a Sensy full-size keyboard with black tactile Alps. And those of you who are interested, I will be one of the people reviewing the Seal 80, which is going to be coming on Group Buy very soon. So be kind of stay tuned for that, friends. So we're currently testing the board right now. So I'm going to go back into VIA, okay, and just see if we have any key presses. Absolutely. I mean, here, folks, I'll show you a crazy project we did the other day. We did the IBM Model M Battleship. So this thing is ridiculous. It's so big it won't even fit in my stuff. So yeah, thank you again, Special K Tech. Thank you so much, my man. That means a lot. Again, I do this for fun. I do this to just spread information, to show people the love of what this hobby offers. So that is part of why we do this. So okay, we're gonna refresh. So I need to get the JSON for this particular keyboard. So let me go for, oh, God, Ill Intent, thank you so much. God, thank you, my man. Ill Intent, thanks, my man. I didn't expect that. So, I have Discord open, so I want to go, oh, hold up. All right, give me a minute. All right, give me a second. So I'm going to go to the Sensy Discord really quick. And I want to see if they have any of my resources. So, okay, Seal. We want the JSON. We're going to download this. Okay, we're downloading the JSON for the Seal Full-Size. So we're going to plop that in VIA. And that should help. That should solve our problem. Let's go to design. There we go. Let's load in a JSON. All right, here we go. We got the seal in here. We're in here. Okay. So I need to program this particular keyboard really quick, just so everything shows up. So we're gonna go to screen share really quick, friends. And we're gonna activate screen share. So we're gonna go into VIA really quick. So let me go put VIA full. Let me go. We're going to go full screen VIA. So here we go, folks. We're in VIA, so which is really good. I'll kind of show you guys what I did. So again, it pops in VIA. So normally you just have to get the JSON. You hit load. Your JSON should be right there. And then now we can see everything. So that's really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of show you guys how I like to program my keyboards. So we're going Win keyless. So we're going to make that Windows key, both Windows keys blank, because they are not going to do anything. And then also we're going to put our control right here. So we're going to, our right alt. Because I don't really need layers on this board for what I want to do with it. So where's my right alt? Here we go. All right, cool. But we're pretty much good there, which is really nice. We also have our layouts, which are really good. We have Tangsun. We don't have anything crazy right there. We also have this lighting right here. I'm going to disable this lighting because this is going to be covered by the Seal badge. So we're not going to have any type of lighting there. So we're going to disable that, which is really good. And now we're going to go to our key tester. So we're mainly testing our kind of main alpha assembly right here. So that's what we're going to do. And then we'll get to our number pad and our navigation home cluster. So escape is good. I've had these switches previously in a keyboard. So we're just kind of going through. And again, I'm pressing the keys and I want proper registration. Okay, so F6 is not working. So we'll definitely swap that one. So that's good. All right, F6 is fine. Probably got damaged. So backspace is good. We're going to do our number row now. So far, our number row is really good. So we're just making sure everything registers. Man, these Black Alps are going to sound and feel amazing in this board. All right, now we're going to go to our next row. Tab is good. We're going to go to our alpha, starting doing our alphas now. So we're in our QWERTY row. Those are looking really good so far. looking really good. All right, our letter L is also being weird. So I'm gonna just get a pen here really quick and make some notes of what switches are being weird. So our L is not registering correctly. So I'm gonna show you my L really quick. So I'm pressing again my semicolon, like that's registering awesome. I'm pressing L and it's being very sporadic. So L is not that is a faulty switch plate. So we have F6 and we have L. Okay. So, but also these switches feel fantastic. All right, last row of the alphas. All right, shift is good. All right, cool. So we just have F6 and the letter L that we got to fix. So we're going to move VIA out of the way, and we are going to turn off our screen share. All right, there we go, folks. So now that's looking really good. So again, folks, thank you so much, folks, as we're going in. So let me carefully flip this over because we do have that ribbon cable we have to be very careful of. So we're going to disconnect that. There we go. We're going to put this off to the side. And we're going to get the desolder gun out. God, it's a whole mess behind me. And we're going to get that going. So let's get that desolder gun. Let's get the Hacko out of here. Again, it is a freaking mess on my desk, but hey, it's a method to the madness here. So we'll get that, and we'll also test some switches. So we'll get that puppy going, and so we got 2 switches in our main cluster here. So that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to put on my stabilized caps on here just to kind of make my life, just to kind of not have to deal with the stabilizers. So give me a second, folks. Cool. But yeah, it's going really good, folks. So, but yeah, also I just want to say special K-Tech, thank you so much for those kind words, my man. Like, it's really fun, and I enjoy working on builds like this. Like, it is an ultimate honor and pleasure working on builds like this for people. And like, again, like I've had the privilege of building boards for people in other parts of the world. Oh, you gotta be crapping me. Some of these stabs are being weird. Oh man. That's not good. Well. Wow. Give me a second. I gotta find my backspace. There we go. Give me a second. Per way. Hey man, it's always a good time. But yeah, there we go. Cool. Awesome. That's really weird. Huh. Well. Wow, that is really weird. Okay. Yeah, for some reason my stabilized caps are being really weird. So we may spring swap because, yeah, that's really weird. Bro. Alright, yeah, we're definitely going to spring swap those. But yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, alright. This is good. So let's go into... Oh, dude, I took the battleship into work yesterday, and people I'm a school teacher in my day job, so, like, my students absolutely love the battleship. Oh, there's your problem. My F6, I didn't solder in the second wire, so let's solder that one in, and then we'll go to letter L. So F6 may just be fine. We just didn't solder in the second pin. Oops. But yeah, letter L definitely needs to be swapped, so we'll definitely swap that one. But yeah, so... Well, in the meantime, while the soldering iron's heating up, we'll get the letter L out of here. It's right there. Alright, we got a clog here in this damn thing, because of course we do. I love my Hacko, but it is a very very finicky tool. Yeah, so the Yeah, so the Battleship I took into work yesterday, and my students at work absolutely loved it. They just couldn't get over just how ridiculously huge it was, which I thought was really funny. So, yeah, I'm a middle school teacher, and so I teach like 13, 14-year-old kids. And yeah, I take in a different keyboard every day. And yeah, the kids definitely notice it on my desk, which is really funny. So they... Okay, that should do it. Okay, so let's pull this one out. There we go. Cool. All right, let's do a little modification to this one. Let's cut these pins off. Alright, so let's open up this switch, and also let's get a new switch plate, and we'll also test this switch. Okay, so let's get him out of there. Cool. Switch plate's faulty. We also have our multimeter to test switches. So we have our trusty multimeter we're getting out. So I got a ton of freaking parts here, so and we are good on Alps parts. So yeah, if you need Alps switches, let me know. I definitely can hook you up. So I literally have a massive box of Alps parts next to me and switches. So nope, didn't get that one. I'm lazy, believe it or not. Considering how much work Alps are, I'm lazy. This is just a lot easier to use for me. It is more maintenance. Like, this is a very high... The Hakko FR3 is not cheap, and it's very high maintenance. So that's the only thing to be aware of if you get one. Like, it's not cheap. It's like $300, and be prepared to purchase a lot of wear parts for it, because you're definitely gonna need those parts. All right, cool. That's registering correctly. So we'll get this switch in here, and then we'll solder that in. Gotta just adjust these. The thing with DCS is they're very finicky. Give me a minute. Yeah, DCS, very weird. I mean, I love DCS on Cherry Max, but they're kind of weird in Alps, but for the purposes of this build, we definitely wanted DCS. So let's get that L soldered in, that registered properly, and we'll kind of go from there. So, all right, let's get this soldered in, friends. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just lazy, and I'm a creature of habit for sure. Okay, that one in there, and then this one. All right, cool. All right, let's also let's solder the other F6 here, and then we'll retest this section, and then we'll move on. If these two switches are good, then we will move on to our main number assembly. All right, let's get the other portion of our PCB out. Carefully connect these ribbon cables. I'm gonna be so freaking careful with that ribbon cable, because I don't want to damage stuff. All right. So let's get into VIA again. Let's reset that. All is good. All right, cool. Our main alpha assembly is good, so that is nice. All right, now let's move on to our numbers, because that's where it's going to get interesting, because we're going to put on some LEDs on this particular board. So let's put that assembly to the side. Let's get this ribbon cable off on our JST. just so we don't damage those. And then we'll pull off our JST. There we go. Cool. All right, so there are indicator LEDs, and I was kind of thinking about it. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm about work. I say work smarter, not harder at my work all the time to my students. So I definitely see that all the freaking time. So what we're gonna do is there are 3 holes right here where we can put indicator LEDs, and in the top case, there it is. The top case of this board has little holes right here where those lights will shine through. So we're definitely gonna get those indicator LEDs working. So I need to find my LEDs. I put them somewhere. Let me find them. Put them somewhere in this dang thing. They're here somewhere. Give me a second, friends. It's gonna be the fun part, finding these damn things. Where did I put them? Alright. They're in here somewhere. I have so much keyboard stuff at this point. I'm trying to see where the heck I put them. Alright, let me look in my menagerie of keyboard stuff. Alright, give me a second, folks. I think I know where. Just gotta move some stuff around because it's kind of crazy. There we go. Found it. There they are. Alright. Got them. There's so much crap in here. It's all good. So, alright. So, we're going to do green LEDs. So, let me grab 3 green LEDs for this. So, these LEDs actually came from the Diversity TKL, which is cool. So, we're definitely stealing these. So, let's see how it goes. Oh, yeah. I have friends who have been in the military. They definitely worked crazy. I'm just going to do 1 right now. I'm going to get some tape just to kind of hold it in place. And then we'll solder it in and then we'll do a quick test. Okay. Let me just solder this in. Cool. Awesome. So let's get that going. Let's get that. Okay. Awesome. Let's remove that tape. So you have our little LED right there. As you can see, its little legs hanging off there. So we're going to kind of cut the legs off, and then we're going to test it. Alright, let's do a quick test. Let's grab the other portion of our PCB. So let's get that let's get this ribbon cable in here. And let's get this JST on here. This portion on. So this should be our caps lock LED. Around carefully. Alright, let's do a quick test. I want to go. Give me a second. Alright, give me a second. Get that light going, but... I just closed via. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me just load in my JSON really quick. Alright, give me 1 second. I want to see if I can get this. I don't know if these LEDs are going to work. Alright. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the LEDs to work the way I want it to. That's just not working right. It might be a... Alright, I think LEDs are going to be a future problem. So, let's get this going. Alright. We're going to... I'm going to desolder this LED. And then we're going to work on the last area of this really quick. So, all right, let's close via. Let's get this LED desoldered really quick, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, that's okay. Let's let this hacko heat up. We'll get that LED desoldered. I think I'll just I'll talk to the Sensy guys and see which LEDs they used. But yeah, that should be working, but we'll kind of see. All right, come on, people. Let me take off my... Let me just pull something out really quick of this thing. You put a new filter in the hacko, because, yeah. Well, the hacko's heating up. I'm putting a new filter in it. Cool. There we go. Let's pull this puppy out. There we go. Cool. All right, friends. Let's put that off to the side. Let's get the vent going, and then we'll get this last little assembly connected, and then we'll go from there. So let's get the last of our black Alps here, and we'll go from there. We're not doing that little top corner one. All right. Yeah, we're getting there, folks. So we are almost there. Let's put our stabilizers right here. Perfect. Cool. We are almost there, folks. Cool. All right, we got 3 spare black Alps right there. So, yeah, there's our little numpad area. So, get that soldered in, and then yeah, we're gonna be almost ready to go. So then we'll be ready to start doing some keycaps, and then like final assembly on this board. So we'll do some tests. But yeah, let's get the vent going, and we'll almost there, folks. And then this one. Cool. All right, we are getting on that home stretch, folks. Cool. Start doing. Just doing our number pad. And the cool thing about this seal and its implementation, it's split its PCB. So you have your main F row, alpha, and number rows, and then you have your numpad and then arrow and navigation cluster, which is pretty interesting. So I think it's a really kind of unique way. You don't really see a lot of split PCBs on these big custom full sizes. Most of the time the designers opt to just keep it a unified PCB. Cool. Awesome. Numpad is definitely coming along. Alright, just need to do our main numbers. Alright. Coming along. We are getting there, folks. Finishing up the number pad. Okay, number pad area is done. We just got to do the navigation cluster and then our arrows. So we'll do our arrows and then we'll do our home cluster. And then once we have this soldered, we'll test these. And then we'll start doing keycaps. So, got like 9 more switches to go. Awesome. Let's get the last of these seated. Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. That's the last of that soldering. Let's test this connection right here. Let's keep that on. All right. Let's grab those two and then our main assembly here. So let's get that JST connected. And let's get the daughter, this ribbon cable here. Again, being very careful to flip that over. All right, let's test these. Let's get my VIA out again. Put my JSON in there. All right, now let's go to our key tester and let's test this. Page up is not registering the way I want it. Print screen's good. Four is being weird. Okay, so 9. Let me get my pen out. So we have 9, 4, and then page up. All right, we got 3 switches here that just aren't being 100%, and I have 3 extra switches, so we'll just swap them out with those. So let's carefully flip this over. Put that back there. Cool. So we have our switches. Let's get our desolder gun out. And we'll get those switches installed. So, letting the Hacko heat up. Let's move Via out of the way. We got 3 extra switches, which will be good. So, yeah, we have 9, 4, and page up. So we have 3 switches on here. We're not putting the switch up here. We opted to leave that one alone, which I think is perfect. All right, Hacko is heated up, so we have 4 and 9. So, oh, 4 I didn't solder in the other pin. Oops. Okay. Well, we'll hold off on the 4. Okay. 4 should be fine. We're gonna do number 9. So we'll do 9 and that page up. And then page up right there. Let's pull those out. Let's do. Damn it, I desoldered the wrong switch right there. Oops. Let's solder that in really quick. So this one right here. Oops. Damn it, we have clog already. Oops. Yep, clog. Hacko loves this stuff. There's your problem. Alright. Alright. Open up these switches because they're being stubborn. We'll just pull the switch plates. That usually does it. Cool, we got these faulty switch plates out. Swap them. Two clean ones. Yeah, I got a metric truckload of Alps switch parts. So that one's good. Let's put this one together. Yeah, Alps are a lot of work, folks, but again, the end result is often really nice. pull these out. It'd just be easier. We're gonna get them. There we go. Second. Okay, let's test those really quick before we solder them in. So let's test these puppies. That's what we like to hear. So, not too bad for like 4 switches. Almost there, friends. Cool. All right. Let's put the Hacko away. Let's test this really quick, and I think we'll be good to start doing keycaps. So let's connect that JST. Connect this ribbon cable here. Carefully. All right. Now, let's go into it and let's try this again. Print screen works. Looking good. All right, we're good. We work. So that's fantastic. So let's flip this over and we're gonna disconnect the ribbon cables and start playing keycaps. So, all right, we're gonna do keycaps outside because I just don't want to put pressure against these. And then we're also gonna do some interesting modifications to this board. So, yeah, so let's start adding keycaps. So, yeah, this is a pretty interesting board for sure. Yeah, we're definitely going with that like blacked out theme, which is gonna be super sick. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. But yeah, this is gonna look super sick. So we're kind of on like the home stretch of this build for sure. Not using that, we're not using that or that. Using that. Yeah, this is a super cool set for sure. loosen that. All right, cool. Yeah, so we're going to see kind of the character and theme of this board come together. Got no step caps on this one. No 00 either. So yeah, we're just putting them on. You kind of see that black theme coming together. Oops. Yeah, this is gonna be sick. F8. Yeah, this is looking really good. Okay, delete. End right there. Tab. Standard caps lock, perfect. Yeah, it's coming together, folks. This is gonna be awesome. Not using that one. 6. We are coming together. What's this one? I'm not using that one. And together, folks. So yeah, Reaper is such a good looking stealthy set. Not using that one. We're getting close. Getting close to having this puppy filled out, and then I'll show you. We're gonna do a little modification to our modifier keys. bracket. That's our insert. Perfect. Up arrow. Almost there. We got our 6. And then we have our escape. Okay, cool. Alright, folks. So, we put the rest of... Oh, and then we have... Oh! We have our F6. Where the heck is our F6? There it is. Oh, it's going to be so freaking good. So let me just find our... Okay. These are stabilized keycaps we need. Alright, I'm going to put the rest of these keycaps away. I'm not going to need them. So we're going to do a spring swap on our modifier keys. So I don't know what's been happening, but the last couple of times I've done DCS, the stabs are being really stubborn. So we're just going to put heavier springs in our 8 modifier keys and just call it a freaking day. I mean, our 8 stabilized keys and just call it a day. I haven't done the numpad though, so let me do that really quick. See if these numpad keys are sticky. Okay, that's fine. That one's good. Okay, those are fine. That needs to be spring swapped. Something a little heavier. Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna be spring swapped. 0. Okay, backspace. Let's see how backspace does. Backspace needs it. Okay. The enter still needs it. Think we can get away with that. Okay, so that needs it. Desperately, and I'm really only putting it on the ones that kind of can't. Yeah. Right. I'm just gonna spring swap them all because I don't trust it. All right, cool. So let me go get the spring. Actually, the switches we're gonna harvest or cannibalize at least. Cannibalizing some black switches. Because why the frick not? I have so many of them. So we're cannibalizing the springs out of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those springs are ridiculously heavy. Yeah, so one more spring we gotta get, and then we'll do some spring swapping. It's just one of these quirks with DCS keycaps. I'll be completely honest, when I got into Alps, DCS, it was like what I was all raged about, but like they're kind of a pain in the butt, and it kind of stinks because like a lot of people who want to get into Alps want to use DCS keycaps. I'm like, they're cool, but trust me, there are better options for Alps keycaps. Okay. Grab my needle nose pliers. Put that spring over there. Let's do our spring swap. And here's the cool thing about Alps. You can work on them while the switch is soldered in, which is really cool. It's a really cool feature. Freaking love. Yeah, that's nice. I just do it to all my modified keys if that's not too much of an inconvenience. Nice. Okay, let's do that backspace because that was pretty clapped. But yeah, this is one cool feature of Alps that I love. You can work on them while the board is soldered in. I mean, the switches are soldered in. So that's one thing that's really nice is you can swap parts on the switches, and it's no big deal. Cool. Backspace is good. Might just swap all of these stabilized keys. Spacebar I'm going to keep because I use that so much. I don't want to make that really heavy. So, yeah. It's a good time, everybody. Okay, let's put that enter in. Perfect. But yeah, this is the part of Alps that take forever. And you can see if you've been on here, we've been on here for over 3 hours. So Alps are a lot of work. And then again, there's probably been weeks of work off camera with this build. So this is, we just do final assembly on here, but like restoring the switches and all that jazz, like that takes a buttload of time. Okay. Switch swap this one, and I'm also going to do the enter keys as well. We're going to switch swap our stabilized keys except for all of them except the spacebar. Nice. Alright, we're going to pull these off. Spacebar we're going to keep because that's one is good. I don't want one too heavy. Let me go grab a couple more switches, pull springs out. Oh, I didn't move them. They're right here. You can't take me anywhere, I swear, people. Let's get the springs out of these puppies. There we go. Let's spring swap these puppies. Okay. Let's spring swap this puppy. Gosh darn it. This one's being stubborn to pull out. Oh man, this one's tough. I'm gonna get my other switch opener. I do have two of these. Try this one. This one's being tricky, man. Okay, let me try this one. Okay, let's get this one pulled out. There we go. God, that was difficult. Cool. Cool. All right, I think we're good. Just move all my damn tools out of the way because we got a lot of stuff we gotta put back away. We are done soldering. We're gonna do final assembly on this puppy now. So, but yeah, look at that, folks. Oh man, but yeah, here we go, friends. Look at that. That is a super, super clean and classy assembly. Oh, can't wait to hear how this puppy sounds. So, let's get this top mounted first, and then we'll focus on the bottom case. So let's go. Let's do the smaller assembly first. Let's find my freaking screwdriver first. There we go. Alright, folks, we're getting to it. Flip that around and just see how that looks. Oh my god, that looks so sick. Look at that. This just looks so classy. It's gonna look awesome. Cannot wait. So let's get the other portion in. Let's get this top mount going. Then we'll join that ribbon cable. Give me a second. Let me find my... Just put these springs away. Put these plain black springs away. So let's flip that over, and oh my god, that is awesome. That is so sick. That looks classy. That looks great, folks. All right, let's get the bottom case. Oh, we got to put the ribbon cable in, so let's get that mounted. Then we'll also get our JST going. Cool. Yeah, so that's how they're joined in here. So now it's nice and stable and solid, which is awesome. So we'll put that off to the side because we need to get our JST daughter board mounted. So let's get that in there. Move to a smaller screw bit and we'll get the thing mounted. Yeah, we've been on there. We're on the home stretch, folks. We'll probably be out of here in the next 10 or so minutes. Okay, cool. Got that mounted. Let's just wipe out the dust from the bottom of this case because this has been sitting in my display for a minute. So let's make sure that this cable stays in that channel. Okay, cool. All right, let's get these. Cool. So these screws go in certain points here. Alright, let's swap to the bigger bit, and then once this is screwed in, then we'll be really close. Almost there, friends. Oh, no. So, good times. All right, cool. Now, we have to now carefully plug this JST in and then connect the top and bottom case. This JST is having other plans. Got it. Cool. All right. Let's get this closed up. And then yeah, we'll be pretty much ready to go. The shorter screws on the bottom, and the longer ones up top. But yeah, I'm so happy to finally have this board. I'm waiting like well over a year since I ordered this. So I ordered this in November of 2024, and I got it in like September of last year. So yeah, it's been over a year in the making for this project. Holy cow. All right, let's move this. And we can also compare it to the Polaris, which has bamboo blacks, which are the later, less desirable, but I like them. But there we go, friends. Oh my god, this thing is... It weighs a ton, by the way. That brass weight on the bottom is no joke. So, that is sick. So, here is our, again, Seal Full-Size with Pine Black Tactile Alps with DCS Reaper. So, we went for a full blackout build on this puppy. Again, we do, of course, have the brass accents, but like that's neither here nor there. But this is sick. So, let's see how it sounds. That's what we're waiting for, right? Oh my god, yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, so I want to compare it to my Polaris. This is my other kind of Black Alps build. Let me pull my little dongle sound scratchy thing. But, so, this has the later Black Alps. So, the more common Black Alps you're going to find on the market are going to be what we call bamboo blacks. They're later Black Alps, which is really cool. And then also, these are the earlier pine blacks, which these aren't necessarily rare switches. They're just a little more, you got to put a little more work in to find these switches and boards. But these are super, bamboo blacks are super common. But they're less desirable. A lot of people hate these. I personally really like them. So here's what bamboo blacks. These are later Black Alps. And then here are the earlier pine blacks, which are the much more desirable of the Black Alps. I'll be completely honest, now having a proper like modern board with Black Alps, I see why most people prefer pine Black Alps over bamboo Alps. This board still has a special place in my heart. I love this board. It's not going anywhere. But it's really nice to have a board like this finally together. Like, this thing's badass. I love this. I think one of my new favorite custom modern Alp ski boards. Let's plug it in, though, because we have not yet to plug it in. I do want to test it. We had to test it outside of the case. So it sounds great, but let's just double check that everything works. So let me load in my JSON into VIA really quick, and let me just verify that it all works. All right, and we are configured perfectly. So I'm just making sure all my programming is correct. And we're good. That looks really good. Everything is programmed the way I want it. So we're just doing nothing fancy in our layout. And then let's go to our key tester really quick. We just want to push through everything. That all looks good. We're just kind of going through. One thing I do like, this has a very nice old school clack. One thing about Alps is they are a very loud switch, and they're very clacky. Very old school sound profile. I mean, these are switches from the 1990s, 1980s. So, all right, we have to swap a switch out. All right, we're not done here just yet, folks. F11 is being weird, so we got to swap that switch. So we are not out of the woods yet, folks. We got to do one last bit of desoldering, unfortunately. So that's okay. That's why we test. So we're going to take our F11 is being faulty. So we're going to fix that really quick, and then we'll get on out of here. We'll test that, and then we'll get on out of here. Where did my screwdriver go? So that's what we're going to pull out. So we're going to undo all these screws. I'm not going to have to undo the top mount of the weight, thankfully, but we need to fix that F11. So that's okay. So we are making our way through. All right. So we're going to fix that F11 really quick. Let's just move these screws out of the way. And then we're going to take care of that F11. Do I ever use F11? No. But when I put these boards together, considering how expensive and how much time they take, I want them to work. So, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So, all right. So, let's take off our F11. There we go. Alley-oop. Let's take F11 off. Oh. It would help if I turned the dang thing on. Lord. So, give it a second, everybody. All right, letting the hack go heat up, everybody, and then we'll get it going. Just checking my... All right, almost there. We'll just do that F11 here. Alright, now, let's get those needle nose pliers. Pull the switch plate. Now pull this bottom part of the switch plate out. It's the joys of Alps, everybody. So, another switch plate. Also test it before we put solder on it, and then we should be good. So it's kind of the nature of Alps when you're working with switches this old. That's just kind of how it goes. Switch plates. Let's get our thingy out here. Let's turn it on. Yeah. Yeah, but this board is freaking awesome. I am very happy we built it with Alps. Cool. Alright, that works. Let's put a little bit of solder on here. And then we'll put this board back together and we should be good to go. And we'll be ready to get on out of here. All right, there we go, friends. Let's put that F11 back on there. Yeah. Look at that, friends. All right, let's get this puppy back on. All right. Cool. All right, let's push this over. And here we go. Let's screw all these puppies in. And we should be good to go. Yeah, we've been on here for a while, everybody. This is a long freaking stream, but the Alps streams are usually long like this. And I mean, also, this is a full size, so there's a lot of stuff that had to be done with this board. A lot more work than just like if we did like a 60. So. But yeah, I'm stoked to have this board's little bro, the Seal 80, very soon. Almost there. Cool. All right, let's try this again, everybody. Plug this in. Let's do that test again, and then I think we should be good to get on out of here. Let's make sure that F11 works. Let's load my thingy into VIA. We're going to do one last test of the keys. We just want to make sure that everything registers and works correctly. But yeah, yeah, we're good. Cool. Alright, friends. I think we are good. That was a marathon stream, everybody. This board is freaking amazing. That's, here, I'll go to my site. That side profile, you can see it up there. Like, classic, classic, classic. We also have that brass weight that kind of peeks out right there. But yeah, that DCS Reaper with these black tactile Alps, this is a awesome, awesome board. And I think this is one of my new favorite custom boards. So yeah, black tactile Alps are awesome. So, all right, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great evening. It's really late. It's getting late here, but The VOD of this will probably be on YouTube sometime tomorrow. So have a great rest of your evening, everybody.